In a free labor market, everybody benefits. When the market is restricted, things are very different. Those Mexicans are heading for the United States side of the border. There are real problems about permitting unrestricted immigration into a welfare state. It's one thing when people come for jobs and are on their own, as was the case for most of American history. It's another thing when a welfare system will support them come what may, at the expense of other people. Yet look what happens when you try to interfere with market forces.
Well, there's several fairly large groups of aliens on the hillsides waiting toward the dark to set in. Other groups that are still on the Mexican side of the border. They'll be coming in shortly, I imagine. We have electronic sensors buried along the hillsides and along the most traveled trails to alert us when there's alien crossings. And from the sensor, we work ahead of them, try to head them off.
No, they're right on the fence. They're just walking east.
It's 10-4.
Okay, you got about, well, I'd say 100 or so here.
Thank you, Foxtrot. Párate, párate. Párate, párate.
This is not a case of good guys against bad guys. The officers are simply trying to do their duty. The poor Mexicans are driven by hunger and attracted by the prospect of jobs.
You do good work.
The law enforcing people have an impossible job.
Vehicle change to 4780.
They're going to run, they're going to get picked up, sent back, but sooner or later they're going to make it. Time 1 minute after the next, you know.
In 1 month in 1978, 60,000 illegal immigrants were arrested on this stretch of the border. But, believe it or not, the Border Patrol estimated that nearly 200,000 found their way through to places like this in Northern California, where there was work waiting for them. Illegal Mexican immigrants are not cheap labor around here. Many earn more than the minimum wage law demands. They can do so because farmers need many extra hands during the harvest season, and there's a shortage of domestic labor available. Jill Hannum and her partner run a farm that produces plump California raisins.
And there's pending legislation which would make it illegal for farmers to hire undocumented workers, and supposedly would impose a $1,000 fine per worker on the farmer. I can't imagine that it would actually go through. If it did, there'd be a full-scale farmers' revolt around here.
Matter of fact, last year there was quite a bit of activity in the Kerman area, which is about 15 miles west of Fresno. Many of the farmers banded together and as much as warned the Border Patrol to stay off their property. And they were willing to back that up with guns, I'm afraid. They were very upset about it, and because their situation was desperate. They needed the workers, and they needed the work to be done now. And the Border Patrol was interfering with that as they saw it.
Violence by employers to assure the availability of workers is no more justifiable than violence by trade unions to assure their members jobs. But violence is one of the things you are very likely to get when you try to prevent a deal between people who have jobs to offer and people who are looking for jobs.